Good day, sir. I am Jane Balignacio. I am about to recite the parole evidence rule, testimonial evidence, testimonial privilege, and previous conduct as evidence. Parole evidence rules. Section 10. Evidence of written agreement. When the terms of an agreement have been reduced to writing, it is considered as containing all the terms agreed upon and there can be, as between the parties and their successors in interest, no evidence of such terms other than the contents of the written agreement. However, a party may present evidence to modify, explain, or add the terms of the written agreement if he or she puts in issue in a verified pleading. A. An intrinsic ambiguity, mistake, or imperfections in a written agreement. B. The failure of the written agreement to express the true intent and agreement of the parties thereto. C. The validity of written agreement. Or D. The existence of another term agreed to by parties or their successors in interest after the execution of the written agreement. The term agreement includes wills. 4. Interpretation of document. Section 11. Interpretation of a writing according to its legal meaning. The language of a writing is to be interpreted according to the legal meaning it bears in the place of its execution, unless the parties intended otherwise. Section 12. Instrument construed so as to give effect to all provision. In the construction of an instrument, where there are several provisions or particulars, such as construction, is, if possible, to be adopted as will give effect to all. Section 13. Interpretation according to intention. General and particular provision. In the construction of an instrument, the intervention of the party is to be pursued. And when a general and a particular provision are inconsistent, the latter is paramount to the former. So particular intent will control a general one that is inconsistent with it. Section 14. Interpretation according to circumstances. For the proper construction of an instrument, the circumstances under which it was made, including the situation of the subject thereof and of the parties to it, may be shown so that the judge may be placed in that position of those whose languages he or she is to interpret. Section 15. Peculiar signification of terms. The terms of unwritten are presumed to have been used in their primary and general acceptation, but evidence is admissible to show that they have a local, technical, or otherwise peculiar signification, and whereas so used and understood in the particular instance, in which case the agreement must be construed accordingly. Section 16. Written words control printed. When an instrument consists partly of written words and partly of a printed form, and the two are inconsistent, the former controls the latter. Section 17. Expert and interpretation to be used in explaining certain writings. When the character in which an instrument is written are difficult to be deciphered, or the language is not understood by the court, evidence of persons skilled The characters or who understand the language is admissible to declare the characters or the meaning of the language. Section 16. Of two constructions which preferred. When the term of an agreement have been intended in a different sense by the different parties to it, that sense is to prevail against either party in which he or she suppose the other understand it. And when different constructions of a provision are otherwise equally proper, that is to be taken which is the most favorable to the party, and the most favorable provision was made. Section 19. Construction of favor of natural rights. When an instrument is equally susceptible of two interpretations, one is favor of natural rights and the other against it, the former is to be adopted. Section 20. Interpretation according to usage. An instrument may be construed according to usage in order to determine its true character. Testimonial evidence. Section 21. Witnesses their qualification. All person can perceive and perceiving can make their own perception to others may be witnesses. Religious or political belief, interest in the outcome of the case, or convict of a crime, unless otherwise provided by law, shall not be ground for disqualification. Section 22. Testimony confined of personal knowledge. A witness can testify only to those facts which he or she knows, of his or her personal knowledge, that is, which are derived from his or her own perception. Section 23. Disqualification by reason of marriage. During their marriage, the husband or the wife cannot testify against the other without the consent of the offended spouse, except in a civil case by once against the other, or in a criminal case, crime committed by once against the other, or the latter, or direct descendants or ascendants. Section 24. Disqualification by reason for privileged communication. The following person cannot testify as to matters learned in a confidence in the following cases. A. The husband or the wife, during or after marriage, cannot be examined without the consent of the other as to any communication received in confidence by one from the other during the marriage, except in a civil case by once against the other, or in criminal case crime committed by once against the other, or the latter, or direct ascendants and descendants. B. Attorney or civil reasonably believe by a client to be licensed to engage in the practice of law cannot without the consent of the client be examined as to any communication made by the client to him or her, or his or her advice given thereon in the course of or with a view to professional employment. Nor can attorney, secretary, stenographer, or clerk, or other person assisting the attorney be examined without the consent of the client and his or her employee, concerning any fact the knowledge of which has been acquired in such capacity except in the following cases. First, furtherance of a crime of a fraud. If the service or advice of the lawyer were sought or obtained to enable or aid anyone to commit or plan to commit what the client knew or reasonably should have known to be a crime or fraud. Second, claimants through same deceased client. As a communication relevant to an issue between parties who claim through the same deceased client, regardless of whether the claim are by testate or an intestate, or by inter vivos transaction. And the third is breach of duty by lawyer or client as to have communication relevant to an issue of a breach of duty by the lawyer to his or her client or by client to his or her lawyer. Document by attest to a lawyer. A communication relevant to an issue concerning an attested document to which the lawyer is an attesting this. Or fifth is joint client. As a communication relevant to a matter of a common interest between two or more clients if the communication was made any of them to a lawyer retained or consulted and concerned the offer in an action between any of the clients unless they have been expressly agreed otherwise. C is a physician, psychologist, therapist, or person reasonably believe or practice medicine or psychotherapy cannot, in a civil case, without its consent of the patient, be examined as though any confidential communication made for the purpose of diagnosis or treatment of the patient, physical, mental, or emotional condition, including alcohol or drug addiction, between the patient and his or her physician or psychotherapist. The privilege also applies to persons, including member of a patient's a family who have participated in the diagnosis or treatment of the patient.